And I'm talking to Hans Zomer, the Director of Dóchas. Hans, how's it going?
Hi.
Hans, could you tell us about the European Year of Development, please, to our viewers who don't know about it? What is it and why are we having it this year?
Well, every year the European Union designates a theme to the year, which means that it organizes events and sponsors discussions about the theme that the year focuses on. And this year the EU has chosen to take an external policy area, i.e. development cooperation, as the theme for 2015. And that is because 2015 is a really crucial year for the world. This year we'll see 3 UN summits at which our world leaders are going to take decisions that are going to shape the future for you and I and for the countries around the world. So these are conferences around trying to find answers and define an action plan for some of the major challenges that the world is facing at the moment: hunger, disease, poverty and climate chaos. And
could you tell us about, I've talked to you several times over the last couple of years about the Millennium Development Goals, and the Millennium Development Goals are set to expire, aren't they, this year? So is this the year of development tied in with this process, kind of?
Yeah, that's exactly the idea. So in 2000, the world leaders set a recipe for international action around global development, and they set themselves a deadline for the 2015. Now, most of the actions that they agreed in 2000 have been achieved by the 2015 deadline. Some haven't. So what will happen this year is that the world leaders will come together again, take stock of the progress that they've made or failed to have made on those goals, and then agree a new action plan for the next 15 years. But what we already know is that action plan will be wider than what you refer to the Millennium Development Goals. The Millennium Development Goals were essentially a recipe for poor countries, and then developed countries could help through the provision of overseas aid or by a reform of the international trade agreements. The next framework will actually be binding for all UN member states. So it's about sustainable development here in the North and in Europe, as well as in developing countries. So it's an opportunity for us to rethink, well, what does sustainable development mean? What priorities should we choose when it comes to building a world that is sustainable, not just for today and tomorrow, but for generations to come.
And Ireland, is it true Ireland and Kenya are co-hosting the co-leading the negotiations?
Absolutely, this is a great honour for Ireland and a great responsibility. So clearly these negotiations have been going on. They've started in 2010, so over the last couple of years member states of the United Nations have been talking, but the last part, the final sprint of the negotiations is happening in the coming months, and Ireland has been given the role, as you say, of co-facilitating those negotiations. So that's an incredible opportunity for a small country like our own.
And someone told me on the grapevine that the new development goals, whatever they're called, the working title, I believe, is the Sustainable Development Goals, but they mightn't actually be universal this time. Are they still? Is there any news on that or anything?
Well, yeah, these are negotiations, so you can never tell what comes out of it. But as I said, these negotiations have been going on, and lots of people, including ourselves, have made submissions over the years. We would think it would be dreadful if the universality principle is dropped at the last stage. At the end, or in early December, Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the UN, published his input, his conclusions, if you will, for what that new framework should look like. And he also emphasized very strongly that this framework should be based on the universal principles of human rights, and therefore should also be binding to every member state, not just the poor ones.
And just to finish up, coming towards the end, talking about the European Year Development, could you tell us what's the kind of plan for the year in Ireland and in Europe?
Yeah, so it's a European-wide program, but we have said, look, in Ireland we can have our own program that needs to be relevant for people in Ireland. And essentially what we're saying is 2015 is a crucial year, but it's also a year in which we can celebrate that already an awful lot is being done to make this a better and fairer world. And we're saying that you and I and everybody else, you don't have to be Mary Robinson or Bono to work for for a better world or to fight poverty. Small steps count, and every person's active actions count. So we're hoping to use the year to discuss what ordinary people in Ireland are doing and can be doing to really help make this a better world. So that our choices as consumers, our choices as voters do have an impact, not just on our own society, but on other countries as well.
And could you tell us, I'll be talking to you over the course of the year again about the whole, just in the year in general, but could you tell us what's the plan for this month? I understand the launch in Ireland hasn't happened yet, and there's also an event on this Friday with the MEPs. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, on the 16th of January, all 11 Irish MEPs are publishing their views of what sustainable development means to them. So that's one event. That's, I think, the first event in Ireland for the European year. The official launch of the year happens on the 22nd of January. President Michael D. Higgins will formally open it. This is a major conference in Dublin Castle, at which we have the President, but also a number of people that we call change makers, ordinary people, or people in the worlds of art or business that have made choices and have taken action to try and do their bit for a better world. So that should be a really exciting opportunity to get the story out that 2015 is a crucial year for Ireland and for the world, and that it's important to mark that year and to encourage each other to stay the course. We know that overseas aid is working. We know that we are making real inroads in global poverty. We now just need to make sure that work continues and that it's done in a way that is sustainable also into the future.
And are the MEPs for Northern Ireland going to be here at the event on Friday?
No, this is an event that we are co-organising with the European Parliament office in Dublin. They only have a remit for the Republic of Ireland, so it's limited to the 11 MEPs from the south of Ireland.
And are the MEPs, do you know if they're going to be there?
Yeah, we've got texts from all 11 Irish MEPs. It's a week that actually there are meetings in Strasbourg, so it's conflicting with that. But there will be 4 Irish MEPs there, including Marie McGuinness, who is the Vice President of the entire European Parliament, and Brian Hayes, who is the Irish MEP that's sitting on the Global Development Committee. So it should be a good event.
Where the other two are? Who are the other two?
Lynn Boylan and Nessa Childers.
Okay.
So and you should be able to follow it on social media as well. The hashtag is EYD2015.
Okay, Hans, thanks very much.
Thanks.
So